What the streets talk about?
What the streets talk about?
Who 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 the streets talk about?
Money they ain't get none.
Money they ain't getting none.
What the streets talk about?
Money they not talking about.
Who the streets talk about?
You see who they talk about?
Who the streets talk about?
David, who they talk about?
Money they ain't get none.
Money they don't talk about.
What the streets talk about?
Money they don't talk about.
Who the streets talk about?
You see who they talk about?
Who the streets talk about?
David, who they talk about?
Money they ain't get none.
Money they don't talk about.
Mass up and pull off, pull up and hop out. Drive by and shoot out, walk by and dump out. Dunk in and dunk off, that's how we cash out. I low strip, I low out, blood in and blood out. Money flow, I lose count. What's up to all my self-paid hustlers out there? Y'all know what it is, man. We back with day 3 of Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanes trial. This is Megan's best friend Kelsey on the stand. We got DJ Akademiks and Milagrosgrams from Hot Radio. This is the recap, so shout out to them. Shout out to Hot Radio. Shout out to DJ Akademiks. This is, again, DJ Akademiks and Milagrosgram from Hot Radio's recap and breakdown. Yesterday, Megan was on the stand. We all seen that one. She admitted to sexing on Tory and admitted to lying for 2 years. It ain't looking good for the thought girl, you know, so we gonna get right back into it, man.
And she said, wait. Yeah, this back one got back. Could you tell that anybody was injured? That Megan was injured? She said, I didn't see. It was a blur. No, this can't be the first page. No, we must have took a break. Because what time we got back, bitch? This shit, hold on. Because I need to know the last thing I told you.
Was it after 1:30?
Yeah, it had to be, that's why, yeah. Back at 1:35, boom, I had to get it. So I'm like, no, that's too late. That don't make sense. All right, so we come back in at 1:35. They said before lunch, you said that Tory threatened you. She said some of the things that I stated weren't accurate or true. Black and white, that's what she said. Ask her again, you told us that Tory threatened you. She said, I can't remember. And so they said you told us that you were going back and forth with him and that he was going back and forth with Megan and y'all was all arguing and it went like this and it went like that. She said, no, that did not happen. I lied. They said, but that's what you told us, right? She said, on that day, I said that, but you know, that night I was under the influence. They said, didn't you say that, you know, when Tory...
Hold on, I got to stop that right here, y'all. Why is she retracting her story now all of a sudden? Like, don't that seem kind of crazy to y'all? Like, first she was all on this nigga's side 2 years ago. Like, you know what I'm saying? Now she like, nah, I ain't say that. So what happened? That's all I want to know. Like, what happened?
That he'll shoot you, that he motioned like he was going to the console, but that he never pulled anything out, and that you said, if you shoot me, then you shoot me, I guess it's my time to go. And then they said, do you recall saying that Tory reached for a gun? She said, just a motion. He never came back with anything. He just motioned for the console and there was nothing. They said, did you ever tell us that he reached for the console? She said, I told you that there were things that weren't true about what I told you. And then they said, didn't you say that you have people that'll defend you if he did shoot you? And she said, yeah, I said that. She said, you talked about the argument and that Tory, you know, was calling Megan bitches and hoes, and that you jumped in because you told him, I don't care what happens, don't talk to her like that. Okay. They said, what happened after that? She said, I believe we pulled over, but I don't know if it was Megan or Tory that wanted us to pull over first. She said the first time that we pulled over, Megan got out the car and Tory got out the car behind her to go talk to her. So Megan's whole motherfucking story, Estee Lauder. Megan's whole motherfucking story of going by the bus stop on Sunset Boulevard and she don't know what Tory was and they was in the car and all that shit. Obviously, it's not fucking true because she said Tory got out the car to go follow and talk to her. So they said, was Megan's phone dead or dying at the time? She said, I don't believe it was dead. They said, when Megan and Tory got back in the car, how did they feel? She said, how was the vibe? She said, a very relaxed vibe. It was very relaxed. Everybody got back in the same seats. When they got in, after a little minute, they started arguing again.
All right, y'all, my bad. I guess she is on the nigga side still. I mean, I don't know. This shit right here is crazy. When you dealing with her, man, this shit crazy. Let's get back to it, man.
And so they said, what was the arguing about? And then she said, they argued about the artistry. And they pressed her about that. So they had to play the audio to remember her so she could refresh her memory because she had already started with I don't recall shit. And so the accusation was that Megan told Tory, you only hot because of Jack Harlow. They tried to make, yeah, that's what was said in court. They tried to make, Kelsey pinpoint at least one thing that was said about his artistry. So Kelsey said that Megan told her, you only hot because you on that remix with Jack Harlow. Okay. And then Tory came back and said whatever he said. They said they stopped the call again. And the prosecutor said, and this is where the shooting took place, right? Kelsey said there were gunshots. There were gunshots. That's how she phrased it. And then they said, didn't you tell us that Tory said, because y'all was arguing and coming at him, let these hoes out my car, let these bitches out. This my motherfucking car. So Megan said she wanted to get out the second time. But Kelsey said, Tory, put them hoes out of his motherfucking car. You want to talk shit to me? Bitch, it's my car. Get the fuck out. That's what Kelsey said he told the driver, told them, get the fuck out of my car. And so Kelsey said that was the final thing that he said. So that goes against Megan with the dance bitch. Because Kelsey said the last thing he said before the incident was, get the fuck up on my car, this is my car. And so they played the audio where, she said those different things and that they pulled over. They said, Kelsey, did Tory try to bribe you? She said, not just me, but I wouldn't say the word bribe. They said that he tried to bribe you about not saying anything. Like, did he mention $1 million? She said he mentioned $1 million, but I don't know why. They said, okay, gunshots went off. And you saw what happened during the shooting, didn't you? Kelsey said verbatim, the way I was positioned? No. Okay. She said we got back in the car and everybody told her to shut up. It wasn't just Tory. They said, Tory told you to shut up, didn't he? She said, everybody told me to shut up. They said, why? And then she said, because she was crying and she was upset. They said, did he say that I will give you $1 million to stay quiet? She said, no. They said he mentioned a label deal. And did he try to bribe you with other favors? She basically said, if that's what it said on the paper, yeah, but I don't know, I guess. They said, didn't he offer to get you an attorney? They played audio from an interview in September of this year. And in the audio, she said, this is Kelsey. So anyway, he was very apologetic. And I told him that he was wrong for what he did. And he said that, she said, I guess that Holly, the lawyer, advised him to ask her a particular type of way if she wanted help with maybe working under him or maybe getting an investment from him or something like that. And so they said, do you remember him telling you that? She said, no. And then she said, what about him asking you, is there something that you want to do? Like, is there anything basically that I can put some money into? Like, is there anything you want to do? And no, she don't remember that. They said, didn't Tory ask you for a hug and you didn't want a hug? Is that what happened? She said, no. They said, when y'all stopped the car the second time, Megan got out. And what happened? Kelsey said that her and Megan got out at the same time on the passenger side. And both of the doors was left open. They said, what did you see? She said, I don't know what I saw. She said, I said things to protect myself that night. I didn't see anything. Multiple gunshots went off, they said. They said, so what happened after that? She said, I'm trying to remember. I don't know. I think she went over to the sidewalk, and then I went over there. They said, did you say that you got out the car and opened the door and that you heard 5 gunshots? She said, I can't recount. I don't know how many gunshots it was. They said, didn't you say that Tory jumped into the front seat after the third shot and you looked up after you heard that third shot and you saw him standing right there pointing that gun? She said, again, I was not being truthful. They played the audio where Kelsey said in an interview in September, I looked up after I was getting out the car. She said, because she really wasn't paying attention. She said, when you be in a car and you getting out, you don't really be looking around, you getting out the car. She said, so when she heard the second and third gunshot, she looked up, and then he was leaning over the door. She said, "That's what I told you." Okay? They said, "Did you tell us that you saw Tori shoot her over the door?" She said, "I was drunk and it was a blur." We go on a break. We come back. People upset now because Kelsey is saying something completely different than what the fuck they expected. They said, "Did you see Tori shooting?" She said, "I didn't see him shooting." They said, "Did you shoot Megan?" She said, "No." They said, "Do you know who shot Megan?" She said, "No." They said, "Did you shoot Megan?" No. They said, "Did you hold a gun?" No. "Did you ever apologize for having a gun and being a part of the shooting?" No. They said, "Who apologized that night?" She said, "I don't recall an apology that night." They said, "After you saw Megan limp over to the driveway, then what happened?" She said, "I don't know." She said, "Did you go check on her?" Yeah. They said, "Didn't you tell us that Megan was bleeding?" She said, "I don't know where it was coming from." They said, "Was Megan bleeding in the driveway?" She said, "No." They said, "Didn't you tell us that Megan looked up and saw you and then she looked like a deer in headlights?" She said, "Yeah." If that's what you got to know, yeah. They said, "Did you tell us that he was pointing a gun at Megan and after the shots, everyone froze?" She said, "Again, the whole night is a blur." They said, "Did you tell us that he came around the back of the car and you were scared of him, and you didn't know what he was going to do?" She said, "I said a lot of things." They said, "Did you tell us that Tori assaulted you and that Quan picked you up like a doll and said they do this all the time, Kelsey? Come on." She said, "Refresh my memory on that." So they played the audio and they said, "You told us this, in the interview." And then they said, "You told us a lot of stuff in September. Like, what's going on?" She said, "I don't care to be here and I got a sick baby and I got postpartum depression." And so they said, "How did you feel about Megan and, how this situation basically transpired?" She said, "I felt betrayed by Megan and upset that Megan started rumors that I took hush money." They said, "Didn't you tell us in September that Tori assaulted you?" She said, "I said that." She said, "Didn't you say that he punched and slapped you?" She said, "Again, I said a lot of things." They said, "Did you tell us that your necklace broke?" She said, "Yeah." They in the midst of fighting Tori that your necklace broke off. She said, "Yeah." They said, "Is that what happened?" She said, "No." She said, "I don't know if it fell or if it broke, but when I woke up the next day, I realized my necklace wasn't there." They said, "What happened to your chain?" She said, "I don't know." They said, "Didn't you tell us that your nail broke?" She said, "I don't know how my nails was." They had the picture on the screen. And so she said, "I don't know how my nails was, but yeah, I told you that." She said, "But that didn't happen." They said, "Didn't you tell us that Tori pulled your hair and your neck so hard that it was like a tug of war and that's what broke your chain because Quan was pulling you the other way?" Okay? And so she said, "Again, I said a lot of things." They said, "Did Quan try to get y'all back in the car?" She said, "No, we just got back in the car." They said, "Did anyone approach you and Megan in the driveway?" She said, "It was all a blur." They said, "What happened in the car?" She said, "I don't know. It was a blur." They said, "Did you send that text to Justin?" She said, "Yeah." We took a break. That's when we came back in at 2:50. So they said, "Kelsey, when y'all got back in the car, could you tell that Megan was injured?" She said, "I didn't see. It was a blur." They said, "Kelsey, what is going on with you today? What happened from September to today that you forgot everything?" She said, "I told you what I was going through. I have a sick baby and a funeral to plan, plus postpartum depression and a host of other things." They said, "Kelsey, have you ever been around the shooting or been involved in anything like this?" She said, "No." They said, "Okay, when it comes to you and your memory of this, don't you get a lot of pushback on social media?" She said, "Yeah," and I still get it to this day. They said, "So how did you forget all of this stuff when people are constantly reminding you of it by way of attacking you on social media?" Kelsey said, "Oh, I take social media breaks." Okay. They said, between September and now, Kelsey said, "I have been through a lot." They said, "Kelsey, did anybody from the defense contact you since September?" She said, "No." And since they interviewed, they said, "Did you send that text off about help? Tori did this." She said, "Yeah, but, I don't remember what I said." So they put the text messages up. They said, "Did you send this text to Justin?" And she said, "Yeah." They said, "Why did you send it?" She said, "Because I panicked." They said, why did you tell us that Tory shot Megan? She said, because I made assumptions. They said, did you tell us in September that you text Justin for help because he shot Megan? She said, I did not see Tory shoot her. They said, did you tell them to take Megan to the hospital? And Megan said, call T. Ferris. But you had to send him a message because your signal was bad. She said, yeah. They said, did you try to send your location to T. Ferris? She said, yeah. They said, did you text your mom help? She said, yeah. They said, did you also say that you were physically and emotionally broken? She said, I don't recall that. They said, were you injured that night? She said, yes. They said, how did you get injured? She said, I saw my injuries the next day. I don't remember. So they pull up a picture of Kelsey's leg that has a huge bruise on it. They said, how did you get this bruise? She said, I saw it the next day. I don't know how I got it. So then they put up another picture. There's another bruise on another leg, or maybe the back of the leg, but I think it was the other leg, the shin, all along the shin. Like maybe she got dragged up the damn street. And then she had a bruise on her arm and a bald patch at the top of her head. And when I say a bald patch, like a literal bald patch. They said, did you take these pictures? She said, yeah. They said, why you take it? She said, because I saw it on my body. They said, have you gotten bruises before while you were drunk? She said, yeah. And they said, have you taken pictures before of your bruises while you were drunk? And that you got while you were drunk? And she said, I don't know if I took pictures then. I don't remember. But I did this time. They said, didn't you tell us that you had gotten bruises from Tory assaulting you? She said, yeah, that's what I told you. They said, why did you take a photo of your head with the bald patch? They said, because I had a bald patch. Kelsey said, because I had a bald patch. And I've gotten bald spots before. And I wear a lot of ponytails. So I was just looking at the bald patch in my head and I took a picture of the bald patch. They said, didn't you call somebody that you was talking to when y'all was in the car and you told them that you just wanted them to be on the line and you left the line open because you were scared and you wanted them to be able to hear what was happening? She said, I did call somebody, but I did not call them for that reason or at that time. She said, I called them once the police sirens popped up and there was a whole bunch of shit going on with the police. She said, that's when I called him and I put him on the phone so he could hear what was happening with that. They said that Megan had her leg on her and in the car. So they said, did Megan bleed on you? She said, I don't know. So they showed a picture of Kelsey with blood on her leg. She said, I don't know who blood that is. They said, was Megan bleeding in the car? Kelsey said, no. They showed the photos of the blood in the car because in these photos, there's a towel that's soaked with blood. The console has soaked loosely, but it had blood on it. There was some blood droplets on her suitcase, and there was blood on the console. So they said, do you recognize this? Kelsey said, no. They said, were there bloody towels in the car? She said, to my knowledge, no. But mind you, she was sitting in the back seat with Megan, and that's where the towels were found on the floorboard of the back seat. But she said, to my knowledge, no. She said, that is my suitcase in the picture, but I don't know who blood that is on there. They said, was Megan bleeding? She said, yeah, but I don't know where from. And I never asked her what she was bleeding from. They said, did Tory tell you to shut up when you got back in the car? She said, yes. And they said, why did he tell you to shut up? She said, because I was drunk and crying. No, she said, because I was crying. They said, why were you crying, Kelsey? She said, because I was drunk. Okay. They said, once the sirens pulled up, Kelsey, didn't you tell us that Tory said, I got a big deal coming up. I'll give both of y'all $1 million. She don't recall all this shit. They said in September you knew, but today you don't know. They said, were you being truthful that day in September when we had this interview? She said about some things. And then she said I wasn't truthful about other things to protect myself. They said, what are you trying to protect yourself from, Kelsey? She said a variety of things. They said a variety of things like what? Kelsey could not produce an answer. She just said a variety of things. She said, I don't want to incriminate myself. They said, did you shoot Megan? She said, no. They said, what weren't you truthful about? She said, I didn't see him do it. They said, how does that incriminate you? She didn't have an answer. They said, were you scared to come up here? She said, no, but I would just rather not be in LA. It gives me anxiety. They said, Kelsey, you do understand that you're under oath, right? She said, yeah. They said, you didn't realize that Megan was bleeding? She said, no. They say your eyelashes pretty. They are. He looked like he got on falsies. So they said, was anybody else bleeding in the car? She said, I don't know. I didn't see anybody bleeding. And then she said, I did not see Tory shoot Megan. They said, Kelsey said, I was in a panic and I sent that text. They said, why did you say that Tory did it? She said, I was in a panic. They said, were you in a panic?
Hey, yeah, my bad, y'all. I was wrong, man. Hey, it sounded like Kelsey turned on her best friends for that young million, man. Yeah, it sounded like she turned on that bitch for that million, man. Back to it.
In September, she said no. They said once
Like, comment, and subscribe. Self-paid radio, man. Self-paid
She
media.
said, I don't know. They said when the police came, were they aggressive with you? She said, yeah. They said, and didn't you tell them don't put your knee in my back? She said, yeah. They said, didn't you tell the police, didn't you tell us that your adrenaline was high after you got handcuffed and that you wasn't worried about yourself because you was worried about Megan at the time? She said, yeah. They said, didn't you say that you didn't think about yourself? You were worried about Megan. And she said, yeah. And they said, what happened after that? After she got out of the county? They said, what happened after that scene on the curb and shit with the police? She said, I was taken to the county jail. They said, were you swabbed for gunshot residue? She said, I don't remember that. And then they say, didn't you tell us when we took you in the room to question you that you want a lawyer because that's what people ask for on movies and on TV? And she said, yeah. They said, what happened after that? They said after she got, released from the police station, Megan's manager, Gilly or Jilly, I don't remember how they pronounced it, but maybe Gilly because I put a G. So Megan's manager, Gilly, picked her up and took her to her apartment. And so they said, was there a specific reason you went over there? They was like, no, that's just where we went. And she said that her shirt was ripped, and so the woman gave her a shirt. They said, how did your shirt get ripped? She said, it was a blur. I don't recall. They said, didn't you say that it was because you had gotten into a fight? She said, yeah. They say, did Quan say something to you? They only allowed her to say yes. They did not allow her to say what Quan said to her when she bumped into Quan. She said she bumped into Quan at the police station when both of them was getting out. They got out, I guess, around the same time. Right after that, Kelsey said she got to throw up. She leaves the courtroom. We all sitting there like, what in the fuck is going on? She comes back wiping her mouth like maybe she had thrown up. She get back in the stand. They said, what happened after that, Kelsey? She said, after Gilly's house, Gilly dropped me off at the hospital. And so they asked her, what did you know at that point about Megan's injuries? She said, I didn't know anything about her injuries, just that she stepped on glass. They said, did you text Megan? She said, I don't know. She was with her team, so I asked them how she was doing. Then they saying, what happened after that? She said, that's when I got a call from Tory from jail. They played the jail call because anytime they asked questions about what was said on the jail call, Kelsey did not recall. It was a blur. So they played it. They said the jail call was the first time she heard from Tory since the incident, and that she tried to call Megan, but she couldn't reach her. They said, and you asked Megan, could you see Megan? And they blew you off, didn't they? She said, yes. And they said, how you feel about that? She said, I was upset because I didn't understand why they was blowing me off. And then she was told, LA is a dangerous place. You should go home. And they booked her a flight back home. So she got on a plane and went home. So she said she was hurt about that. She didn't understand basically why she was being iced out, basically. So she was angry and confused. Kelsey said she subleased her apartment and gave up all her shit because Megan told her, come out here, we got a house. Don't worry about nothing. So all she did was pack a bag and leave. So she didn't have nowhere to stay when she got back. So she had to stay in a hotel for 2 weeks, she said. And then she said that Megan felt bad about it and got her a place. Set her up with an apartment. Set her up with a place is what she said that Megan did. Then they brought up Kelsey meeting with Tory at the hotel. And she said, I met with Tory because I had to get my stuff. And mind you, Justin had to go to Tory's house to get Megan shit. Okay, she had to go and get her shit too. And so They said, was Tory apologetic when y'all talked? She said, yeah, but he didn't say why he was apologizing. They said, didn't you say that you didn't feel safe meeting up with Tory and Quan? She said, yeah. They said, why? She said, because I didn't trust anybody at that time. And so she specified that she met outside of the hotel. She didn't go into no room with him. It wasn't nothing private. They said, didn't you say that Tory was upset about the attack on his artistry? She said, yeah. And they said, didn't you tell him that he was wrong for what he had done? And they said, didn't you tell us that he was wrong for pulling out a gun? She said, no. They said, didn't you say apologize to Megan because I'm not the only one that deserves an apology? She said, no. They said, did you say that Megan's team was being weird and you want to know why you was out the loop? And she said, I guess. I don't remember telling you that. They said, Tory apologized. You said you're wrong, right? She said, I don't remember telling you that. They said, do you remember telling us that Tory offered you a job or maybe an investment? She said, not like that word for word, but yeah. And then they said, they were asking her why she was anxious and why she felt the ways that she did. And she said that she had PTSD from the police and gunshots. They said, did you have PTSD from being attacked by Tory? She said, no. I have PTSD from the police and the hoopla around the situation, basically. They said, didn't you tell us that he offered you a job and then he offered to pay for your lawyer and that you said, I don't need anything from you? She said, yes. They said, is that what happened? She said, I can't remember. Okay, the attorneys go and talk at this point. Now is something going on. They come back. They said, did you tell us that business offers happened over the course of a few phone calls? She said, no. They said, didn't you tell us that the offers, persisted until the charges got filed? She said, I don't remember that. They said, why did you fall out with Megan? She said, that's a good question. I don't know. They said, did you feel that Megan didn't protect you enough when she came out and people started accusing you of shooting her? She said, yes. And then they said, is the accusation that you shot Megan false? She said, yes. They said, did you shoot Megan? She said, no. They went into or tried to get into a statement that she made on Instagram. We could see the paper that they had in evidence, but the judge was fed up and said, we're done for the day and we will be back tomorrow. Kelsey has to get back on the stand in the morning and give it up. A shit show.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I think this severely drives a wedge between what the prosecutor would have hoped that even though they don't get along, they would have had similar stories. And it seems like, you tell, well, I mean, I kind of asked you this already. It looked like Kelsey is using this opportunity to stick it to Meg.
It's looking like she's hiding.
It's looking like Kelsey knows.
It's looking like she's hiding something.
Facts. Looking like she hiding something. But what is she hiding? Did she shoot her best friend or what? But she couldn't shot her if Megan got her apartment right after she sent her back to back to Texas because she felt bad. If a motherfucker shoot me, I don't give a fuck how much money I got. Or if I made you move out your apartment and move you in with me to LA because I had a big ass house. Motherfucker, that was before you shot me. Once you shoot me, bitch, you homeless. I don't give a fuck. So what is she hiding? I'm with Akademiks and them on that. What is she hiding? You know what I'm saying? But man, we're gonna leave that right there. We're gonna come back with, Kelsey on the stand, with Day 3 or Day 4, self-pay radio, man. Y'all like, comment, and subscribe, man.